Hi everyone, it's Miss Higgins. Today we're going to learn how to use Pythagorean theorem to calculate the area of a triangle. First up, let's just review how to find the hypotenuse. So if you remember how we labeled our triangles before, to find our hypotenuse, we just draw an arrow. So this will give us our hypotenuse, which is also side C. And then we can label the legs A and B. It doesn't matter which one's which. Let's make A equal to 4 and B equal to 3. So to find the length of the hypotenuse, we start with our formula. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. Fill in the values that we know. 4 squared plus 3 squared. Okay, then we want to actually square those. So 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9. We add those together to get 25. And now that's the value of C squared. So to find the value of C, we want to make sure that we take the square root. So C is equal to 5, and let's call them meters in this case. And remember to just really clearly indicate your answer. So that's how we find the hypotenuse. To find a short side, we're going to subtract. So it makes sense when we're finding the hypotenuse, we add, and for a side length, we subtract. So for example, if we were trying to solve for side A over here, okay, we would choose a different formula. We would go A squared, because that's what we're looking for, is equal to C squared minus B squared. Fill in what we know. So in this case, we know 5 squared minus 3 squared, which is 25 minus 9, which leaves us with 16. And again, that is the square attached to that side. So we take the square root, and A is equal to 4, and we'll say meters again here. And we know that is true because that's what we started with in our original. So let's see how we can apply that to find the area of a triangle. Just a quick recap on how to find the area of a triangle. Using the same measurements from the previous slide, what we're going to do is we're going to start with writing down our formula. So area is equal to base times height divided by 2. And the reason we divide it by 2 is because you could kind of see how this is a rectangle here, but it's just half of it, right? So it's the same as finding the area of a rectangle. We just have to split it in half. So the base is always the bottom number, so 3, and the height is always perpendicular or at 90 degrees to the base. So in this case, it's 4, all divided by 2 is equal to 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And now we're dealing with area, so it's meters squared in this case. Let's have a look at this triangle where we have to apply Pythagorean theorem before we find the area. So in order to find the area, we need to have the base and the height divided by 2. So we know the base is 12 centimeters, but we don't know what the height is yet, and that's where Pythagorean theorem comes in. So in this case, if we label just what sides are which, C, and let's call this one B and A, right? If we label it this way, we're looking for a short side, so we're going to use the formula A squared is equal to C squared minus B squared. And we know C is 10 squared minus, now this is a little bit tricky. We know the whole length is 12, but we're just using this part of the triangle here. We're only using half of the triangle to apply Pythagorean theorem in this case because we need the 90-degree angle. So B in this case will actually be 6 centimeters. And that gives us 100 minus 36, which is equal to 64. And remember that's A squared, and so we want to square root to get A, which is equal to 8 centimeters. Now that we have our height of our triangle, we can calculate the area. So the base is the full length, 12, multiplied by the height, which is 8, divided by 2, which gives us 48 square centimeters for our area.